Hi, this is Brandon Barnum, CEO of HOA.com, and I focus on helping business owners and professionals win more referrals so they help more families and make more money.
You're watching Success, Motivation, and Inspiration, where we share interviews with incredible leaders who are crushing it in life and business.
Brandon, hey, it's so good to have you on the show here today. I was doing a bunch of research on you, not only on you being the owner of HOA.com, but also multiple time best-selling author. HOA.com was registered in 1996. Did you launch the domain back in 1996, or did you actually just acquire it later?
No, we actually acquired it in 2020. So we started this company as the homeowneralliance.com. And one day I was sitting there with my business partner and said, this domain, the homeowneralliance.com, is too long to fit on the side of a bus. I said, if we could have any domain on the planet, what would it be? Homeowner Alliance. Looked up HOA.com, reached out to the owner, made him an offer we couldn't refuse, and here we are.
How does HOA.com differentiate itself from other HOA platforms?
Well, there really is nothing like what we're doing. We're using AI to really revolutionize the homeowner association industry to help boards be more effective and automate a lot of the tasks. We have an inbound AI agent that takes phone calls from homeowners, and it knows all of the details about the CC&Rs, the bylaws, all the stuff homeowners might have questions about. So the homeowners get their questions answered quickly, and it reduces the workload on the HOA board, the community management company. So everybody's happy. And that's kind of one side of it. It elevates and automates the budgeting process, ticketing, voting, just all aspects of the HOAs. And then on the other side, we help the professionals who serve those HOAs. And really, we focus heavily on the real estate agents because they want to win more listings in top HOAs. So we help them really master the process of working with HOA boards and improve their visibility and then serve more families and make more money.
You are a master of networking and connecting communities. Can you explain the mission behind connecting communities?
Yeah, so we're on a mission, as you can see behind me, to create unity through community. We believe that people feel more disconnected than ever, and they want to be connected. They want to feel like they've got friends, and why not be friends with the people that live right in your own neighborhood? So that's one of the things that we're developing our AI to do, is to create a friend match where you get connected with people that share your interests and your hobbies and your values right there in your own neighborhood. But we do community impact events. We help the HOAs that we partner with throw parties in the park. And this weekend on Saturday, I was at a kickball tournament, and it was great, man. There was about 75 people there. It was put on by one of our partners, but lots of kids having fun. Dads are playing cornhole. Kids are playing kickball. The women are listening to music, dancing around. And I looked around, and there were about 75 people at the park. Not one person was on their cell phone. People are just actually getting to know their neighbors, having a great time, and that's the future of community.
My background, I owned a telecommunications company. We had over 250,000 customers a month hitting the website. If you'd have told me you had a community there with all those people and nobody on their cell phone, that would have been actually something I would have loved to hear too, because as a telecom owner, we were being charged for every minute, every text, every megabyte of data, kind of like a gym. You want to have people buying your service, you carrying the phone around. But the wholesale breakage, you do not want them to actually be using the service that they're paying for.
Man, that's hilarious. It's funny you go there because you're talking about the money. We're talking about the mission, right? It's about really connecting people, but you're right. Absolutely. Now, here's what we find is that when people are connected, that's when they create deeper relationships. And actually, that leads to more prosperity. So we teach our clients and our members to focus on people first, people before profits, focus on your purpose, your passion, share your personality, and that all leads to prosperity.
I want to focus most of this on HOA.com,
Sure.
But your book, you wrote Raving Referrals as well as other books. How did those connect as far as authoring a best-selling book on referrals and connections and then also doing the HOA stuff?
Yeah, so I started my career 12 years in the mortgage industry and, did over $500 million in transactions. And that's really where I learned the art and the science of raving referrals. And for the last 15 years, I've been on a mission to help as many professionals and business owners as possible attract more referrals. So I've built tech platforms. My last company was called Refer.com. We had over 5 million members, including 250,000 real estate agents on that platform. So that's really my part of my mission, is to build real relationships in the real world, because people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so we have a system and a process that we teach so that people have deeper, stronger relationships, and then they win more business. Because like in B2B sales, you probably know this, 84% of business to business sales start with a referral. If you want to make a sale to a business owner, you need somebody that's taking you in there and endorsing you to that person. So there's a higher trust transfer that takes place, and you win the business.
You get people sometimes that are afraid of AI, artificial intelligence.
Yep.
I heard another guy say AI, artificial intelligence, does not exist at this point. It's the sum of all human knowledge, the sum of all of information that you put into it that's publicly available. But I love that you guys are integrating artificial intelligence with HOA.com. Can you share some of the other core services that HOA.com provides, AI or not?
Yeah, you bet. And your guy's right. It's really machine learning at this point in time. There is no artificial intelligence. It's a term that's been used. And quite frankly, I created my first AI platform 6 years ago, back in 2019. So I've been an early pioneer working in this space for a bit, but it is really machine learning. You're giving the machine tasks to do, and it automates a lot of what you're able to do. So that's one of the things that we're really working on with homeowner associations, is what are those tasks that are routine, that are repetitive, that happen over and over and over again, where a machine can do all the analysis and then prepare a report and a recommendation that the board can take action on. And what that does is we find about 80% of the tasks that humans have to do can be automated, right? Creating a budget, analyzing vendors that you want to hire for a community. A lot of that happens a little nepotistically, where people hire their cousin's company, right, rather than maybe the most qualified and the best value. So we're using AI to program those searches to really create and optimize the operations for the entire community.
Man, that's awesome. You talked about an upcoming certified pros program for HOA.com. How does HOA.com ensure the quality of its certified pros?
Yeah, so we do background checks and just make sure that people are high quality. We look at their ratings and reviews online, make sure that there's no legal issues, insurance, financial issues that there should be concerned about. And a lot of our pros come on the platform because they're invited by other pros. We really focus on partnering with real estate agents because they want to be that community champion, really helping to weave the fabric in that community and be famous in that community for their service that they provide. And typically realtors give out a ton of referrals and they don't get many back. But over the 5, 10, 20 years they've been in business, you worked with a lot of different contractors and vendors. And so they do the vetting, and oftentimes they'll invite the top trusted pros. And then we make sure that we've got the highest rated people possible on the platform.
Who is Karen, and what role does she play in the HOA ecosystem?
Yeah, Karen's the name for our AI. And, we want to make the name Karen great again, because a lot of people named Karen have kind of gotten slighted over the last few years. It's associated with somebody that's complaining. But really, when you think about it, that persona is about somebody that wants to make things better. And so what we do is we have two kind of AI avatars, agents, if you will. One is Joy. That's our AI community concierge. That's who helps make everybody happy and gets them connected with the resources and professionals that they need. And then Karen is where we go if you've got a suggestion for improvement. If you've got a recommendation of how we can make the community better, then we're going to get you connected with Karen.
That's awesome. I had heard about that, and I was just cracking up going, there's got to be something along the lines of, could not have been a mistake that you named that AI persona.
Not a mistake at all. And, we want people to have fun and laugh. And that's one of the things that it usually gets a laugh out of folks when they hear that our AI agent is named Karen. It normally causes a chuckle.
That's awesome. And you mentioned earlier the people doing business with people that they know, like, and trust. That's something I've heard and said over and over throughout the years, but it's absolutely true. And I love it, again, that you're using AI to help bring people closer rather than get rid of jobs that people could have done. What types of tasks can Karen automate for community managers?
Well, so we talked about budgeting, right? Actually creating the budget, analyzing all of the expenses. And so it doesn't have to have somebody that does all of that work. when you think about, a lot of the repetitive tasks that an HOA manages on a regular basis. A lot of the top complaints that we hear about their HOAs is, number one, transparency. People feel like they spend a lot of money, that pay their HOA a lot of money. They're not sure what they get for it. And that comes down to number two, communication. So AI can improve transparency, can improve communication, and then also it's the politics and the policing. So we talked a little before the show about your personal situation and with a politics of a board president. And what AI helps do is take some of that away by making some of the tasks repetitive. And you can actually have an AI run a board meeting by setting the agenda in advance based on what needs to be completed and created by the community. And then taking the notes, transcribing the event, memorializing it all, getting all of that information out to the homeowners. So again, there's better transparency, better communication, and less political activity happening within the HOA board.
What measures are in place right now with your site to ensure data security with AI integration?
Oh yeah, so we've got a whole cybersecurity team, right? Our chief information security officer is one of the top experts in the world when it comes to cybersecurity. So that's really what we put in place, is those measures to ensure that there's no breaches, and if there's an attack, that things get sequestered quickly and resolved as fast as possible. So that's really where the focus is, on the security of all the clients' information.
How does the concierge service with HOA.com connect homeowners with local professionals?
A couple different ways. One, we have a new mover service, so that if somebody's buying a home and they're moving into a new HOA, our service, our concierge service, will take care of everything from changing their address, setting up their utilities, getting them quotes on insurance and security and cable, wireless, a lot of the different services that people need when they move into a new community. It'll give them quotes on moving, storage, everything that they need in that process, because buying a house is the third most stressful thing that you go through. And part of that is because you're moving into a new area where you know nothing and no one. And so we take care of a lot of those tasks through the concierge service. And then even beyond that, once you've moved in, whether you know people or not, you're always looking for somebody to serve you and to help with garage door repair or landscaping or house cleaning. And you don't want to have to go out there and search for it. You want a recommendation from somebody you can trust. And so that's how we're building our concierge, where we're integrating personal connections and relationships too, because you'll know long-term on our platform who your neighbor is recommending for different services. So you can have a conversation and say, hey, how is Paul's plumbing or Pete's painting for you? Did they do a great job? And then you're going to get that personal recommendation.
Now, checking out HOA.com, you've got it's a nice looking site, but you've got a ridiculous amount of great features on here.
Yep.
And so here you can download the Future of Community white paper. A lot of your services are still on a wait list right now. What do you think your time frame is as far as getting things set up for HOA board members or homeowners?
Yeah, so we do that selectively right now. We're actively serving HOA boards, but we're doing it sort of on a pilot project basis. I think you're saying, when are we going to make that open for everyone nationwide? The plan right now is August of 2025. But right now we're serving dozens of communities, and we take on new communities all the time, but we do it selectively.
What is the Safe Home Report? How can homeowners benefit from it?
Yeah, a Home Safe Report is not only your personal valuation report to understand how much is your house worth, but it also comes with that personal recommendation of all the individual trusted certified pros that serve that community. And then it also has local events. What's happening in your local neighborhood? We're adding in local news as well, down to the community basis, so you can find out what's happening right around you that's most important for your family.
Now, is that done through APIs, application programming interfaces, or is that AI go out and scouring the internet and finding things based on the location?
Both. Yeah, so we use some data feeds where we're pulling in publicly available data, and then in other cases, we're curating content and then creating content.
This interview is sponsored by Newswire magazine. We celebrate the entrepreneurs and thought leaders shaping the future. Those who don't just adapt, but innovate, who inspire others to think bigger, Lead boldly and create lasting change. Only a select few are featured in Newswire magazine, and for those who earn a place on the cover, the opportunities are unmatched. Your story shared with a global audience, your achievements celebrated on national billboards, reaching millions. Every leader has a story. Every vision deserves a platform. Who will rise to the top? Stay tuned. You're witnessing greatness unfold.
Hey, welcome back to Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. We're on with Brandon Barnum, the CEO of HOA.com. Another question for you, Brandon. How does HOA.com assist board members in automating administrative tasks? I know you got a ton of tools, but can you break down a few of the ones that might be kind of cutting edge?
Yeah, we've talked about budgeting, right? That's one that is frequent and something that they use all the time. Architectural review process is another, right? Homeowners have to get approval in order to paint their home or make improvements to their home, and AI can automate much of that to reduce the amount of human oversight that's needed. So that's another area. Vendor selection is another. We talked about that a little bit earlier, right? We want to make sure that we get the best vendors possible for the community with the highest service and the lowest cost, and AI helps sort and identify the best vendors and best partners for those communities. Managing ticketing, there's just so many different ways that we serve the boards and thus the homeowners. The voting process, the communication process, we talked about reporting and transparency of financials. All of those things are so important. And what we find as a frequent complaint about HOA homeowners is they feel like the HOA board operates without standards, right? So it's sort of rules for thee, but not for me, where everything isn't administered equally. And this is another area where AI helps to make sure that everybody is operating on a level playing field.
I know you've got massive number of clients, but who is your perfect target client, whether that's a board member, a homeowner? Who's that client? What do they do?
Yeah, so we have two primary. Our company is sort of set into two different areas. One is the board members themselves. They make the decisions. Ours is we call it community as a service. People think of software as a service. We've sort of taken software as a service to a whole new level because we're focused on real people in the real world, and we have events that bring people together, which we don't know any other software company that does what we do. So that's one of the primary focus is the HOA board. Through that, the community management companies. We love to partner with great management companies that are serving HOAs either citywide, regionally, or nationwide. And then, of course, it's all about the homeowners. We don't charge homeowners anything. It's always free to the homeowners. We get paid either by the HOAs themselves or by the professionals who serve them. We have a certified pro program where people pay a membership to get vetted and verified, and then once they're in the system, they have access to our referral marketing engine.
How does your platform better facilitate communication between board members and residents? Are they logging into an app? Is that through the website?
Yeah, so we have a portal where board members can log in and they can access communication out to the community. We also have the ability for homeowners to see all the information that's going on, all updates, events that are taking place, any notifications. They can pay their HOA dues right on the platforms. For those HOAs that choose to manage their platforms on HOA.com, there's a full SaaS platform to manage everything about their HOA.
Are you providing the merchant processing as well, or is that set up through a merchant processor's API or maybe a bunch of them?
Yeah, the boards have their own merchant processing. They typically already have that in place, so that's not the business that we're in.
Is that anything you might be interested in the future, launching your own processor or even a white label processor that you can do for a small margin?
Yeah, we have basically a zero margin relationship already put in place. We've just not offered it. We manage it internally, but we haven't offered that out to the HOA.
Perfect. How does AI-driven efficiency improve homeowner satisfaction?
Number one, I think the most impactful is getting homeowners the answers to their questions quickly, right? In the industry, the standard in the past, the associations have sort of trained HOA boards and management companies not to answer the phones, because if you answer the phone, people are going to call more often, and that's not a
Yep.
high profit service, right? And so a lot of homeowners in the past have found that they have a tough time getting information. I was just on with the CEO of an AI company earlier today that focuses specifically on HOA resale documentations, because we're working on a partnership with them, right? So when somebody sells their home, the HOA has to provide a resale certificate. If it's in a condo, they've got to complete a condo questionnaire before the mortgage can close. And typically, HOA boards and community management companies have been very slow to get those done. So that's a solution that we're bringing in so that we can speed up the process and improve things for everyone.
Very cool. Can community managers actually customize the platform to fit their specific needs, as far as turning on or off certain features? Or
yeah, so they've got access to a full suite of services. They customize what they want to turn on and turn off so that they have a custom suite for their specific community. It allows managers to manage multiple communities as well, because sometimes you have a professional community management company. Maybe they've got 10 or 100 different HOAs that they're managing. Well, each of the homeowners has a separate portal, but yet we have the ability for the property management company to manage all of their communities in one place.
now, how can realtors or real estate agents leverage HOA.com to win more listings?
What we're doing is we have an HOA certification process where we help them really gain expertise and become the expert in their local market. We call it a Certified HOA Specialist designation. So it's about a 4-hour course that they take online. They go to HOA.com, sign up for that. They watch our videos, take the quiz and tests at the end so that they become certified as an HOA specialist. And then what we do is we give them an HOA activation playbook so they know step by step what to do to better serve the boards and the community management companies. And through that process, and also throwing events, they become famous in that community, and that helps them win more listings in top HOAs.
And you mentioned the referral program before. How can service professionals become part of the HOA.com's trusted network?
Yeah, so they go to HOA.com, click on the Service Pros link, and there they can apply. As I mentioned before, we go through a verification, validation, do background checks to make sure that they are who they need to be or meet our service standards. Typically, we want to see folks that have been in the business for at least 5 years. We want to see as close to a 5-star review and rating as possible, and make sure that they've got the capacity to serve more homeowners, because some people are fully booked. So we want to make sure we've got companies and pros that have capacities to serve.
Besides the extra distribution and additional revenue, what are some of the other benefits of being an HOA certified pro?
Well, one of the biggest benefits is you're actually deeply embedded in your communities, right? You're actually building relationships with real people in the real world. And as a result, your business grows, but your relational equity grows, right? People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And you want your business to be famous as somebody that really cares. So one of the other things that we do is what's called cause-related marketing. We're big fans of people being charity champions, finding a charity or a cause that you're passionate about and integrating that into the story of the service that you provide. And what that does is 84% of homeowners want to know the impact that you're making in the community. So when you win the hearts, you win the minds, and that's what creates loyalty, and that leads to more referrals.
Now, you talked about being similar to a SaaS platform, software as a service. If I was an HOA manager or somebody that's trying to get involved, what does the pricing look like to me?
It's variable depending on the size of the community, because it is software, right? Ultimately, we're providing a software service. We consider it community as a service because we're manufacturing goodwill that goes beyond just the tech. But different models. One is for the communities themselves, and that's based on the number of homeowners that live in that communities. I'd say its average is about $500 per community per month. But obviously, the larger communities that have thousands of members pay more than that. And then on the certified pro side, that's $357 a year, so less than $1 a day.
And now you're talking about breakage, wholesale breakage. If you're talking about $500 a month, say on average, you're getting started, breaks on like $6,000 a year as an HOA. What does that look like as far as additional profits, or maybe cutting costs by finding better service providers through your AI? What's that breakage look like at the end of the year for an average HOA using
Well,
your
for
service?
most HOAs, they're going to cut their software expense by about half by working with us. So our solution is a lot less expensive than other competitors. So they get more and they pay less, which makes everybody happy.
We've got a couple of places here locally, 2 different HOAs. Both of them have got absolutely, I couldn't tell you the name of the service, but to try to pay, it has been a train wreck where they want you to mail them a check because the service is down. Now they're switching HOA platforms. And so this is something I'll definitely be recommending this interview and your link to both the HOA managers at the 2 places I've got here locally. What are some of the technological advances that HOAs introduced to community management that you wish, or that maybe HOA managers wish that your competitors would be offering?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is that the fact that, again, there's not a lot of transparency in the industry. And, this is one of the last remaining industries that hasn't really been effectively regulated. So there's over 3,000 counties in the U.S. and all of the regulations are typically either state or even county based. The documents are different. So I was just recently talking to the director of the real estate commission for the state of Arizona. And one of the things that they want is a governing documents database. They want access to the CC&Rs, the bylaws, the rules and regulations, and the financials of the HOAs, because that doesn't exist anywhere. So it's one of the things that we're working on is consolidating that to give all of the appropriate stakeholders access to the information, because quite frankly, it is a charity. The HOAs operate as a nonprofit organization. They're not there to make money. They're there to serve the community. And charities' books are typically open and transparent. And so all that information should be available to all the consumers, but typically it's sort of hidden from public view.
Being a nonprofit doesn't mean that you're not supposed to watch your finances and take care of the money that you're doing there. That also doesn't mean you're not making money as a nonprofit. It's just a tax designation, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a fiduciary responsibility to serve the homeowners in their community, right? So if somebody joins the board, they're stepping up as a local leader. They're saying, listen, I'm going to volunteer my time for the betterment of my family and all of our neighbors. And so they're stepping into a fiduciary role. And that's one of the things that we teach and train HOA boards is to understand the position that they're stepping into so that they treat it with the respect and professionalism that it deserves.
Now, for investors, we've got a lot of folks that watch this show, or especially reading our articles in Newswire magazine, that are investors or looking to get involved in something that's taken off. Is HOA currently a publicly or privately held company?
Privately held.
So do you ever plan on going public? And if so, or if not, what opportunities are available for investors with HOA.com?
Yeah, our goal is not to go public. That's not the path that we're on, but you always build a company to sell it as much as, we want to change the world and help everyone. We know that this is going to be a very attractive company to a lot of different corporations that want to serve local homeowners in a new way. So we've raised our initial round of capital. We'll go out and raise another $20 million later this year at probably a $100 million valuation. So that'll be our next round of funding.
Now, are you requiring accredited investors for that, or it probably doesn't matter if you're doing private funding, right?
All of our investors to date have been accredited.
How does HOA.com plan to expand its market presence besides what you're doing here as far as the interviews?
Yeah, so we target the real estate community. We've got our program is going out to over 1 million real estate professionals here over the next 30 days as we launch our Certified HOA Specialist course and designation. And then in the HOA world, of the 375,000 homeowner associations in the U.S., 65% are managed by professional management companies. There's only about 7,000 of them. So they're easily identifiable and we're able to communicate with those directly.
What strategic partnerships has HOA.com formed to enhance its services recently?
Recently, I'm waiting on an agreement from Pods. That's one of our newest that we have a verbal, and we're going to formal. We've got partnerships with Thumbtack, Care.com, a whole host of others. So we focus on national organizations. I was just meeting with the CEO of Remax a few weeks ago about really partnering up and expanding this throughout the real estate agents that they serve. And they're the most trusted real estate brand in America. So one that we look at with respect and admiration.
Always cool to see folks like that who have really mastered communication and networking and just making people love you from the start.
Yeah. I think real estate agents are one of the most underappreciated professionals out there, right? When you think about them, most of us know several real estate agents, right? And so we sort of take them for granted. But when you actually understand everything that they do for their clients, they go above and beyond. Are they well paid? Yes, they are. Absolutely. Because the transaction size that they're dealing with is 3, 4, 500,000, $1 million or more. So because they're dealing with a large transaction, their income is higher. But I was at the Remax conference here about a month ago and hearing the CEO talk about what their platform, what they're really committed to creating as a company, it was about trusted, productive professionals. And they kept hammering those 3 words over and over again. And I think you find the people that are really professional career agents are trusted professionals and very productive. But it's an easy industry to get into, so not everybody qualifies. Only 53% of all agents did a transaction last year. 47% of all real estate agents in America did 0 transactions in 24. So, you got a lot of people that are doing a lot, and then you've got a lot of people that aren't doing much.
That sounds like a really sorry hobby to have if you're doing all the work to be a realtor, driving around, and not counting the training, the cost, and everything associated with it.
Well, I think the people that are serious about the business are doing transactions, but I think it's easy to have a real estate license in case you want to buy a home yourself or you refer someone and earn a referral fee. So you got a lot of people that aren't truly professionals, right? They're not productive professionals. They're doing it as a hobby, like you say. So we focus on, the top 10% of agents that are really committed to going above and beyond for their clients and, doing 10 plus transactions a year. That's the center of our bullseye.
What is one primary goal for HOA.com this year?
Yeah, so by the end of 2025, we want to be a partner with every HOA in America, one way or another. We've got all of them created. We've created a separate page for every neighborhood in America on HOA.com. So we've already created a page for them, and we'll be going to market to them so that they can start serving the homeowners that they care for on HOA.com.
Oh, that's powerful. How can someone get started with HOA.com today, visiting HOA.com?
No, that's really it. That's where you get started, right? So go to HOA.com, and depending on whether you're a board member, where you're a real estate agent or a service pro, you can find the right link and get started with us. And, as far as final thought, it's really all about unity through community. If you look at the word community, the word unity is built into it. Community means come together as one. And that's the world that we want to live in. That's the future of community, is helping neighbors know each other, helping them connect with other people that they love doing life with. And we think that a lot of people are living life by default rather than life by design. So what if you had a richer life? What if you had more friends, people that you loved hanging out with, and your kids were down playing with others instead of being at home stuck on their cell phone or a video game? So that's the world that we are focused on creating, and it starts with unity through community.
Man, I love that. Brandon, you've been an incredible guest today. If you're watching this right now on Amazon Fire TV, I would highly recommend you pause on the show, scroll down. There'd be a search engine optimized article about it with a link to Raving Referrals, as well as Raving Referrals for real estate agents. Pause your TV, scroll down, click that. You can get the book right off of Amazon. Grab that book. I think you're going to love getting connected and just learning some of the stuff that Brandon had to share that he didn't actually share on this TV interview. Thanks again for being a guest, man. This is absolutely awesome. Let me show that copy of the book here real quick, called Raving Referrals. Raving Referrals for real estate agents. Quite a few of them here, and they will take you directly to the Amazon page. Each of these books are available in Kindle, hardcover, or paperback. Man, thanks again for being a guest, Brandon. This was really enjoyable conversation today.
Oh, my pleasure. You're a true pro. You've clearly done this over and over again. So thanks for having me, and hope we can help everyone create more unity in their community.
Thanks for watching Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. This episode was designed to help you level up. See you next time.